A study of Proverbs, Day 3, in Proverbs Chapter 3. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth, and with the firstfruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves him whom he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of plenteousness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called blessed. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the deeps broke open, and the clouds dropped down the dew. My son, do not lose sight of these. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, and they will be life for your soul, and adornment for your neck. Then you will walk on your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror, or of the ruin of the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, "Go and come again. Tomorrow I will give it," when you have it with you. Do not plan evil against your neighbor who dwells trustingly beside you. Do not contend with a man for no reason, when he has done you no harm. Do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways. For the devious person is an abomination to the Lord, but the upright are in his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the dwelling of the righteous. Towards scorners he is scornful, but to the humble he gives favor. The wise will inherit honor, but fools get disgrace. Our proverb for today is verses 11 and 12. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves him whom he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights. Every child growing up in school needed a Mr. Galbraith in their lives. A throwback to the old days of strict disciplinarian teachers, Mr. Galbraith exacted excellence from his students. He drilled students and pushed them to do their best. He didn't tolerate any disruptive behavior in the classroom. As a result, he was feared. At the time, we couldn't appreciate what he was trying to accomplish. We only saw the seeming harshness of his style. Years later, when students would gather together to talk about the old days of school, one after the other of my classmates remarked that Mr. Galbraith had been among their favorite teachers. We can look back and see that it was not meanness or anger that drove our beloved teacher, but a desire for students to be the best they could be. Such is the nature of discipline. Isn't it interesting that when a person pursues a branch of learning, it is referred to as a discipline? Likewise, in some areas of martial arts, the method of training is called discipline. Discipline with clearly laid out structure with well-defined rules and expectations. Why? Discipline instills dedication and is most effective in helping students learn. Too often, students don't see this in a positive light. Such is the case with the discipline of the Lord. By virtue of Solomon attaching the idea of becoming weary or despising such things, He states a conclusion that people often come to when faced with such behavior, modification techniques by the Lord. He further connects such practices with that of a loving earthly father. If the motivation of the father is love, then he will discipline his child. If anger is at the root of discipline, and thus is meted out in a brutal way, then love is not the true motivation. So it is with the Lord. It is not anger or wrath, but love at the heart of his discipline. Throughout the book of Proverbs, you will note the idea over and over of disciplining a child. Take these examples. In chapter 29 and verse 15, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. In verse 17 of chapter 29, discipline your son, and he will give you rest. He will give delight to your heart. In chapter 13 and verse 24, whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. Chapter 19 and verse 18, discipline your son, for there is hope. Do not set your heart on putting him to death. And finally, Proverbs chapter 23 and verses 13 and 14, do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with a rod, you will save his soul from Sheol. When the writer of Hebrews in chapter 12 of his letter quotes our verses for the day, he connects the thought of the hardships the Christian has endured and compares it to that of what Christ himself endured. Jesus endured hardship and hostility, not because of sin, but because it perfected him and made him a compassionate high priest, able to sympathize with us. Hebrews 4 and 15. So, when seen in the light of love and that which perfects, discipline is welcomed. How is the perfection process going in your life? Lord willing, we'll meet again tomorrow.